Is it live?
That's a great
It's
question. It
still
says
not.
it's live.
It says it's live over here, but it's. Oh, there we go. And mute tab.
Yeah, dude.
And good morning. I could not figure out how to fix the background, so what you're seeing is a test background that I was messing around with. Um,
It works.
I do not know. So, I've talked about this before. One of the things that I've messed around with is the idea of doing some tier lists.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
now that I have my full rig, I can do it. Now that I have my camera set up and at least one key light
Yeah.
a key light.
I think you messed up though not doing like the gamer style where there's an S tier at the top
I
and
I think I have another graphic that has S.
okay.
I might be too late for it. But I still may go back and do to a tier list of the 2020 Reverb's top 10 pedals of 2023 that were released in 2023.
Right?
Um,
That seems like a
which
lot. 20 seems like a lot.
20 no, it's would I say top 20?
Yeah,
It's
you
top
said
10.
20.
It's top 10, I
Okay.
think. I actually have all of the graphics already loaded up in OBS
Sure.
for it. But oh man, I
You
think
should do worst. You should do worst pedals released.
well, it's gonna tier list the whole. I'm gonna tier list their top 10,
Right, right.
with the idea. So this is a preview. If I ever do that one specifically, the idea is that it would be saying like, for example, I think we talked about it before. Like Cloudburst is like an F tier.
Oh, yeah. I think it's an
Like,
F tier.
maybe not an F. It's probably like a D.
I'm gonna make people real mad when I agree with that, but I totally agree with that.
So
I'm
I've
just
got
not a
some.
fan.
Ryan had this idea that I like. It's a little more effort, but it's
Uh-huh.
also very doable in OBS
Okay.
because of the screen capture ability to screen capture. Is when there's a pedal launch, just to do like a top 10 uh best, like say the Walrus Audio Silt. Watch 10 or other demos and just do a 10 top 10 best moments of the Walrus Audio Silt launch, and it's like,
Oh.
I really like this sound that this guy dialed in. Oh, I really like what this person had to say about it,
Yeah, I
kind of
think that could be
stuff.
fun.
So, anyway, man, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm finally, I think mostly like I'm like 95% recovered from NAMM. Finally, it took way too long. Still clearing my throat more often than I'd like. It
Yeah,
just is what it is.
yeah,
Got the first episode out of the podcast for the new season. That was with Ryan. Um,
yeah. I listened to that.
Yeah, just being honest, it was low hanging fruit. It was easy to grab a hold of Ryan to get that episode done because the episode I wanted to be the first episode. Don't get me wrong. Actually, I started season 3 off with you, and then I started season 4 off with Ryan.
Hmm, hmm.
But it was like they just couldn't connect with the couple of folks I was trying to connect because I was sick, and so I didn't get the first episode out in like the manner I wanted to. But
Right.
this is the most like I don't have another one in the can yet, right? But
Hmm.
I do have like 5 interviews scheduled in the next like 2 weeks, which
Oh, that's
is
fun.
that's the most I've ever had pre-scheduled. So if they all happen, got a lot of really, really cool guests coming up. Um, I'm previewing here a little bit. I got Molly Miller's coming on the podcast. That's gonna be super rad.
Oh,
I've got
that'll be great.
yeah, that's gonna be really good because she's a killer player, but I don't know a whole lot about her besides that, she plays with Jason Mraz and she teaches at I think the Los Angeles uh guitar school or school of music. I got Nully, who's the head of manufacturing at Collings, is coming on the podcast. Um,
At first, I thought you said you have Nelly, and that would
Not
have
Nelly.
also
That
been
would
pretty exciting.
that would be a lot bigger. If I could get Nelly on this podcast, I would do that too, though. Like that would happen. But anyway, I've got a bunch of guests lined up. I'm not gonna sit here and name them all off, but there's a lot of good ones coming.
Sorry.
So,
Yeah.
how are you?
I'm tired. I was up off and on until almost like 3:30, 4 o'clock. One of my kids has been because my youngest has been sick, and now she's like at that like acting weird but very high energy state.
Gotcha.
So that's exciting. Not. But otherwise, I did end up buying a LED strip last night for we were talking
Oh,
about it
nice.
yesterday, to throw up behind to at least get the guitars lit up.
Yeah.
Um,
I think if you put it so the way your shot is framed right now, where you can't quite see the top of your rack, like you can't see
yeah.
the background, put it across the top. I think that would be the best way to do
Hmm.
it. So you're not
Hmm.
getting the light directly in the camera, because I have found that that can really mess with the exposure on the camera as
Yeah.
well.
That's interesting. So like with them facing out.
Maybe. I think, or facing up, or basically
Interesting.
you're just wanting it to be more like ambient light is the
Yeah.
way I kind of look at it.
Facing, I guess if I did facing up, I do have a white ceiling, so they should just reflect off the ceiling,
Oh yeah, yeah.
back down. So that could definitely work if they're.
Richard Clark, I definitely notice it when you're acting weird.
Do you know Richard Clark?
I mean, only through these live streams. So,
Oh, okay.
but
I'm seeing visual things in the back that are gonna bother me the
okay,
entire time
you
if I
fix
don't
that.
fix them.
Uh, while he's fixing that, Snarky, you're absolutely right. Samantha Fish would be a great guest, and so would Joanna Connor. I'm trying to make some inroads with some of the blues folks I know this season, and try to get some of them on the show. So that's going to be really rad. Justice, thanks for actually being on the 40 watt for at least a second. Remember, go over and if you're over here on the 40 watt and you don't already follow 60 Cycle Hum, which seems unlikely, please subscribe and follow them. If you're over here from 60 Cycle Hum, go over to 40 watt and follow and subscribe there. If you don't, which seems likely.
I don't know. I feel like there's probably more people. I think there's like there's that thread of people that are like, I want to hear good interviews and good music and not listen to two morons.
Yeah, well, I haven't focused on YouTube. Like that's part of like where this live stream came about, was we were talking and I wanted to focus a little more on YouTube, and this was a good way to do it. Not that live streams are incredibly popular, but they're fun. And but I'm about to break finally like 800 subs. My goal is
Oh, nice.
2,500 subs by the end of this year. That's a big
Wow.
goal. But that's
Yeah.
a big goal, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to really really push in the next couple of months, starting to get more content out. I've got I'm borrowing this, so I definitely have to get the video on this done.
Oh, cool. Who'd you get that
Um,
from?
I got that. So one of my listeners and Patreon supporters lives here in town. He bought it and
Mm-hmm.
he was like, dude, I'm not going to get to play it for like 2 weeks here. Borrow it. So I've been playing it. I really, really like it. It's way better quality than I expected. It sounds really good. I actually really, really like the distortion on it. I don't know. It's rad. So I'm going to do a video on it. Nothing long, like 5-10 minutes maybe, but just an overall view on it.
Richard Clark says that I am the moron at 60 Cycle Hum.
Oh, I gotcha.
Sorry.
Actually, I think you're the straight guy on 60 Cycle Hum.
I definitely read that in the non-comic sense, and I was like, no, we're both married to women. Like neither, I'm. So a comment that's come up a bunch is that the triple threat seems like a very Ryan pedal, and I do think that that's true, and I do think it's surprising that he did not. But there's just so much going on at NAMM.
Yeah,
That
there
I think
is.
it's hard to jump on everything. And look who made it. What's up, Bully?
What's up, Bully? He can't hear us yet.
You there,
Maybe
man?
he can.
You got no
we see you
audio.
can't hear you. No audio. He rocking that Texas Bucky shirt though.
T777 says Ryan uses phaser. I mean, if it's an effect, Ryan will find a way to use it.
Yeah, that's true. Snarky, I actually don't think it's the most expensive Donner pedal. I think there's been more expensive pedals by Donner. It's only $99, but it's got to be real close. It's got to be real close.
It's are they selling those on Amazon?
I don't know that they're selling them anywhere right now because I think they're sold out.
Well, I mean, were
Yeah,
they listed on Amazon?
I think he bought this on the Donner site specifically. So I haven't looked. My guess would be yes, but
The circle looper is over $100. But I guess like as far as what they talk about this being like similar to are things like the Donner Alpha Force, which is actually a triple mod. That one's 70. So
uh-huh.
Donner has a few things that are like more expensive than this, but this is on par for Donner's like if you bought, which is what people have pointed out, like this is what you would pay if you're buying 3 Donner pedals.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which people think this is the, I don't know which distortion and plus the yellow fall delay plus something else. I don't think they figured out what specifically what distortion or what. Oh, I think maybe it's the morpher, but I don't know that that's any of that's confirmed.
Yeah, I think just playing it, I don't know exactly which one, but it's very fuzzy once you get past about halfway on the gain knob.
Interesting.
And it cleans up pretty well. So it's a fascinating distortion that would not be my go-to, but you know, I'm over here being a blues dad without being a dad. I'm just a blues, I guess.
Right.
So it's definitely not what I would use, but I like it. The echo's fine. The phaser is a little on the quiet side. I have to really crank it up to get it up to unity, but it sounds like a phaser. I think it's a killer first pedal for somebody. And Richard, yes, it does. It does clean up with the volume knob a good bit.
Have you played any rubber bridge guitars?
I have played a couple, and I even have one that I made. So I've got this little like 3/4 size Premier Multivox that got rebuilt by a local luthier, hobbyist luthier. He rebuilt it. It's a vintage guitar, and it's amazingly tiny. He got a custom wound P90 for it. And what I did is I put flats on it. So the thing about the rubber bridge guitar phenomenon, it's not just about the bridge. To get that sound, you need a couple of things in place. One, it needs to be, and this is not what mine is, but it's close. It needs to be one of the smaller bodied import acoustic guitars, like a Stella or a, you know what I mean? Recording King makes them. You can buy the Recording King if you want a modern version of it. Then you replace the bridge with a rubber bridge so that it gets that muted sound. But then here's the other part everybody forgets. The other side of that sound, because we're hearing it in a bunch of recording, it's all over Taylor Swift's Evermore and Folklore albums.
Right.
The other thing that you have to do is you've got to put in like a super hot, like dual rail mini humbucker in the sound hole. It's got to be a super hot humbucker pickup to get that sound. So I have tried them and I built one sort of, but it wasn't exactly all of those things. I mean, I did it on an archtop guitar with a P90, and I bought garden twine, the rubber garden twine that you can, you know, it's like the twist tie stuff that you use to like tie roses to stakes in your garden. I threaded that through the strings and it gave me the same effect as a rubber bridge. Snarky, most people know I'm a Swiftie at this point.
So what you bringing up rubber bridge guitar, or that topic, and then referencing the Taylor Swift album, it made me think of I was watching through the Grammy clips I could find. There's like not a lot on YouTube, for whatever reason, and but one of the ones that I watched was the Boy Genius interview, which I thought of because Phoebe Bridgers' Punisher has a lot of rubber bridge sound on it. Like that's just been the
Yeah.
bedroom. That's just been like the bedroom pop sound for
It has.
a bit.
And it's cool. It's a super rad sound.
Yeah.
It's somewhere between like, I don't know, guitar and banjo because it's plucky sounding.
Yeah. But one of the things that came out of that, which I don't know if I forgot or if maybe I knew about it, is that the Recording Academy was accused in 2020 of covering up sexual assault by its former CEO.
Oh,
Now former, which Phoebe Bridgers, when they asked some question about, I don't remember what, or about like women, the rise of women in the Grammys, because like almost every major award in this year's Grammys was won by a woman,
yeah.
which was a big deal. And her comment was like, "I know he's not dead, but Neil Portnow can go rot and piss when he does die, he can rot and piss, even though he's." So it's like preemptively saying like, "Please die soon."
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, "Damn." Also, I don't think he's that old. So
yeah, I don't know, but I will say while we're talking about this is a fun because usually you and I talk and have a couple of things in mind we want to talk about before we do these live streams. We didn't this time.
No,
we were trying new technology instead, and it failed, but that's okay. While we're on Boy Genius,
yeah,
WTF Fender, you let Gretsch build a Boy Genius guitar before we ever get the Julian Baker Telecaster?
I'm also on that page. Emily pointed out that Lucy Dacus plays Gretsch. Oh, there we go. Let's see if we got, but yeah, I think that's really interesting, and I'm on the same page. Like, I don't understand why there isn't a Julian Baker Telecaster yet.
I've been pinging Fender on posts. I don't know, a couple of times a year for the last like 4 years. Like, why is there not a Julian Baker Telecaster?
Yeah, let's add Bully. Can you hear us this time?
Yeah, I can hear y'all, man.
There he is.
Sorry about it. Pretty good.
Answering this question real quick, we're not doing a ranking list. I just couldn't figure out how to change my background. So
okay. You have I was going to tell you how to do it, but that's I guess it doesn't matter if you don't care.
No, we don't care that much. We're not that serious. We're goofing off here. I'm loving the Lone Star State Bucky shirt though.
Bucky shirt, yeah, man. You gotta represent. And I appreciate the fact Thank you.
Yeah, man. I've stopped at that one just outside of Dallas, the biggest one, and it is the most insane thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
wait, isn't it pronounced bussies?
No, it is definitely not.
You do that, you gonna start a fight. Let me tell you something. Don't play.
That is definitely something else entirely, Steve.
We just gonna change glasses, so maybe.
I watched. There's a whole viral. There was a whole viral TikTok of like this couple going into a Buc-ee's, but they're pronouncing everything wrong.
Yeah. Get these Busey nuggets, new games.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Jeremy Baker, just to wrap this up. That Gretsch is limited to 1,000 units. So, I don't know. I don't know what Fender's doing. I can't figure them out.
It is limited to 1,000 units.
Yeah, it's limited to 1,000 units.
Guess I'm not.
Well, maybe they're trying to ensure exclusivity.
I guess so, but to me, it's just I realize Lucy Dacus has played Gretsch for a while, but the whole Julian Baker and what she does on a Telecaster, and couple that with Fender saying they wanted to work with more women artists, or basically non-male, they want to work with more people of color, more underrepresented groups. They have an artist right there who has a ton of underground popularity, has played a Fender exclusively for years.
Yeah.
Like, it's right in front of your face. Like, why is this not happening?
Here's the thing. So when you do that, you have to understand there is a certain, how do I eloquently put this? There's a certain sex of people that hold fast to traditional ideals. Let me just scoot around the corner and up the driveway that way. And shaking the boat, no pun intended, would upset them possibly. So let's run the list, right?
Right.
I'll go on the bass side. That's pretty much what I know.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Marcus Miller went out and created his own brand.
Yeah.
There's a reason why that happened, right? Now, as of late, there have been a few black. I'm just saying, speaking to my culture, there's a few black basses that are signature that are out now as of the last 2-3 years. I think, is Tony Franklin black? I don't know, but I feel like he is for whatever reason the music he's playing. And then you got
He is not.
You're
He
gonna
is
be
not.
real
not?
disappointed.
Yeah, he is
Oh,
not.
he's not.
No,
Dang it, man! I wanted to claim him so bad.
no,
I wanted to claim him
he's
so bad.
he's so white he's British.
Oh, bro, I'm disappointed. I never looked him up. I listened to the music. I was like, oh, he has something. There's something seasoned about what he's doing here. This is tasty. The licks were tasty. So I was like, come on now. Anyway, Mono Neon. I know a piece of him is black, and that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it did.
So there's a reason. You can shake the boat to get people interested again, but you can't. Their whole claim to fame is doing this thing that they've done since the 50s and then rinse and repeating it.
Yeah, exactly it. And so it's really frustrating. And to T777 about her playing not being anything to write home about, she's an incredibly creative guitar player. Just because she doesn't shred in the way we think of shredding, and she, she's not a blues rock virtuoso. She's not out here playing metal. She plays really intricate looped styles of guitar, which is incredibly popular. She's a great guitar player. Okay, so a bully, you may know what happened to Lobster. No videos in 5 months.
Y'all dirty. So Lobster was doing video after video very consistently, like 3 videos a week.
Yeah.
For 2 years. Like, he's only had his channel since the beginning of maybe like 3 months into the pandemic or 2 months into the pandemic, he started his channel so that he could make a encyclopedia of basses, right?
Yeah.
So when you doing a grind and you're doing, let's just say it's 2 videos a week, and then you multiply that by 52 weeks in a year, and then you do that for 2.5 years, 3 years, with no breaks. Now,
right?
No breaks. You ain't got nowhere to go. So at some point, he was doing 3 videos a week, and then he cut it back. That was after like a year. Then after that, he went to 2, and then it was like 1, but a little bit longer. And then he's like, I'm trying to get my sanity back.
Yeah.
So he kind of is like, man, I just need to let me just stop for a while, and then when I'm ready, I'll come back to the game. That's what I know, talking to him and stuff. So
yeah. Well, no, that's good.
I know Lobster's been active on the Discord a bit. Not a ton, but yeah, videos will happen when they happen. So yeah. So this is all I'm gonna say. Sure. I'm looking at this. Maybe this is gonna throw too much shade. I don't know. It's not. I don't really care. Is this gonna show up? There we go. I mean, I think you can go, like, the reality is whether or not you think Julian Baker is a great player or not, I happen to think she's a phenomenal musician.
She's a better player than Kurt Cobain.
Being a great musician, Kurt Cobain, like the legacy artist, amazing what he did for music. I don't really want to make an argument there. Albert Hammond Jr., does anybody give a flying fuck about the Strokes anymore? Who cares? I just don't care. These are great. I'm gonna throw some shade. I love Jason Isbell's music. Is he a phenomenal guitar player? I have no freaking clue.
Yes, yeah, actually, yes, he is.
Is he? I'm just saying, like, I don't watch his live stuff. It does not come across on record.
Yeah, no, because his albums are very storyteller focused.
Yeah.
His live shows are very guitar focused.
Gotcha. Tom DeLonge, obviously we know that he sucks at guitar. Steve Lacy, I love Steve Lacy's music, but he's in that same vein. Like, is he a phenomenal guitar player? I can't really tell. But I like his music. Ed O'Brien.
Some people just want to see the world burn, baby. I love it. Go ahead.
Ed O'Brien, you know, what the hell? I'm about to say the wrong band name.
Radiohead. Yeah.
Page Beck, like Jeff Beck's dead. Michael Landau, I heard he's good. He could walk into my office right now. I wouldn't know who the hell he is. Kingfish is cool. Chrissy Hind, is she a phenomenal guitar player? I don't know, but a lot of people like her music.
Yeah,
like the reality
didn't Kingfish just get his like last year or year before?
I think it was I think it was 22. He just got his. It's a great guitar.
Ben Gibbard again. Like I love Death Cab. I love the Postal Service. I went and saw them a few months ago. Does he deserve a signature? I guess he has a signature sound. I don't know. Who else is on here?
How much of this stuff is pedals, though? That's what I want to know. Exactly how much of this stuff is
Ben
pedals?
Gibbard. There's definitely a lot, but he's always played like these shorts, like tended to play short scale stuff to get like the basic level fundamental sound. You know, load more. Jim Adkins has a Telecaster. Like, I love Jimmy Eat World. Does Jim Adkins deserve a signature guitar? I don't know. Like that Jimmy Eat World hasn't had a hit in 18 years. They've arguably only had one hit. I love Jimmy Eat World, but they arguably only had one hit.
And also we're going on the criteria that was presented, that the argument is that Julian Baker doesn't have a remarkable enough style of guitar to have an instrument. We're not talking influence. We're not talking about songwriting. We're talking guitar playing. So we're using the criteria you've given us. A ton of the artists that Fender gives signature guitars to don't play better than Julian Baker does. So if that's your argument, it's non-existent. I mean, I'm just going to continue to say, and this is no shade on oh my gosh, my brain just completely lost the name of one of the biggest stars of the last 5 years. The ukulele, the signature ukulele.
Billie Eilish?
Billie Eilish. There's zero reason for Billie Eilish to have a signature ukulele, but she does.
That didn't work like I thought it would.
And the reality is like that's every brand with artist series guitars. So T777, if you're not a guitar player that people should look up to as a guitarist, then you should. All right. So in that case, I get it. I understand the argument.
I think she is personally.
I think if you want, like, it's all at some point it becomes reductive. You know, at some point you're basically saying that Buddy Holly should have a signature guitar, Hendrix should have a signature guitar, Jimmy Page.
That should be for real though. Hendrix should have one that I can buy just off.
Well, I think his estate is like very like they go back and forth, and I think there's a lot of stuff on the legal side. You know, so I get it at some point if you're drawing a line. You know, if you're not a guitar player that people should look up to as a guitarist, I'm gonna say the thing. The only guitar player that should have a signature guitar right now is Taylor Swift.
Let me get the hell out of here.
I don't really think that, but I mean, there's not a Taylor Swift signature guitar, and she's certainly a player when she plays that is inspiring a lot of people.
She plays?
Yeah, she does play guitar.
She plays. She used to play Johnny Marr's signature guitar.
There is or was a signature Taylor Swift guitar, but it was a Baby Taylor.
Oh, right. Yeah. I vaguely remember that. I like Jeff T's. I'm putting my signature on one of my guitars and selling on eBay. I'll see what happens. All this signature guitar stuff. actually got me. There was something I did want to talk about once you were on Bully. And this is a topic that I think comes up a lot, maybe.
Okay.
I will say one more thing. A Post Malone telly would destroy. And also, yeah, I do agree with that. Why is it?
He's still the reason I haven't played a Dumble.
Why is it you think that bass players as a community are so much more open to like new brands than guitar players are? Hey, sorry to put you on the spot like that.
No, man, I know what I want to say, but I'm gonna try to finesse this bad boy. We are open to a lot of stuff because we don't really get the respect, and if we do get a specific artist type of representation, then that does come with a bit more respect. It's an iconic thing, so like you don't have to really know if you're into music. Like some of these bass players that that I could rattle off, right? So like we know what a flea bass looks like.
Yeah.
Like that off top, right? Okay. What the bassist from Green Day. What his bass looks like. Okay. Yako, right? Like what his bass looks like. Even Marcus Miller. They have iconic shapes, they have iconic visuals. Paul McCartney. That's two different basses. Yeah. Freaking Chris Adler. Not Chris Adler, that's Chris Squire. Adler is a drummer.
Yeah.
So we're open to it because we don't get the respect, even though we're like the skeleton of the band. If I suck, the band sucks. Like if a guitar player, no, let's keep it completely funky. Let's say you have a 4-piece band, right? You have a singer, you have a drummer, you have a lead guitarist, and you have a bass, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go around the table. Let's go around the table swapping people out. So like you take your lead guitar player and he's just meh, right? Okay. But the singer is solid, the bass player is solid, the drummer is solid, right?
You got a great band.
Oh yeah.
They can still crush. They can still crush. All right, bet. So let's take a great lead guitar, great bass, great drummer, and the vocalist is meh, right?
Then you got the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Well, you kind of also have Creed and Nickelback.
You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
So there's that. Drummer is meh, but the other 3 pieces, you can arguably still get by. The White Stripes.
Some people would argue the Beatles.
Well,
some people. I didn't say I would. I didn't say I would.
I have thoughts about the basis for the Beatles too, but that's not our subject. Okay. Let's just say I slap violin bass. Don't play with me. You hear me? So I have a vendetta against it, my personal self. So, but anyway, but if the bassist sucks and your lead guitar person is good, your vocalist is good, and your drummer is good, they're gonna suck because it's not gonna be a cohesive thing, right?
I actually in this same philosophy, I actually leave the drummer in the same argument as bassist. If your drummer or your bassist aren't on point or aren't solid and you can count on them, you're gonna sound bad every time because as a guitar player, I know that. So the easiest playing band, and this makes no sense, but the easiest band I've ever played in was a 3-piece where I didn't have to work hard at all because both my drummer and my bassist grew up together, playing on stage together since they were 5, and both of them came up through the Kojic Church.
And black people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. And it was the easiest gig I ever played as a guitarist and singer because they knew how to fill in space.
And they Kojic, so they got their licks are tough.
Yeah, and they followed. And I'm an improv player almost like 80% improv player. I don't know what I'm going to play from one moment to the next. Songs, the structures may be short, they may be 10 minutes. They knew how to follow me. And not only did they know how to follow me, but they knew how to be solid the entire time they were following me. And they were able to recognize when, oh, he's going way off script. Our job is not to go off script. Our job is to be home for him to come back to. And once those players got too busy, or one moved away to Illinois, once that got to that point, I never could get that again, because I could never get that cohesion again. And every gig became work after that. It was real work.
So hold on. Were you singing and playing lead?
Yeah, singing and playing lead.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I just had to make sure, because I've seen situations where the bass player was a singer, and you could have just been there being pretty in the front or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I still don't know how bass players do that. I tried. I cannot sing when I'm playing bass. I can't do it.
I also cannot do that. I end up singing the notes that I'm playing, like a Richard Boner type of thing.
That's great. Well, so the thing that got me thinking about that though is like when I've watched your lives, Bully, you all talk about like different brands. Like you mentioned Sire earlier. Sire started, Marcus Miller, like they were a bass company, which they were making bass guitars for a few years before they started making
about 7-8 years.
Making electric guitars. And then I know I found out about Kloss mostly through you. What's the other brand? Offbeat basses. I found out through you. And these are I think both of those companies make electric guitars, but they certainly have a lot more. Actually, does Offbeat make any electric guitars?
They do. Basses? They do, but because of me representing them, they get more call for basses now. So they're kind of going to where the money is and then shift back. Close was the opposite. Close was pretty much all acoustic guitars, and then they branched off into the bass world, and we were like, is that a carbon fiber neck?
Well, and so that's the other thing is like, bass players tend to be more, and this goes back, these are companies I've been seeing for years, is bass players tend to be more open to different materials. Dingwall makes some like different designs, like some just crazy looking stuff. Effects, we tend to not like effects. I know. But
I don't need. I'm not playing Tool. You get what I'm
saying?
Oh, they're leaving. I'm actually on a cruise ship, so I apologize if you're hearing the horn.
Oh, that's rad. I did not realize that.
Yeah, that's man. Cool. Go ahead.
I was like, what room in your house is this, man?
Right.
No, man. I'm ahoy.
Oh, nice. Cool. You playing, or you actually on vacation?
Dude, listen, I got a story for that, but go ahead and press your point, and then I'll let you know what happened last night. Go ahead.
I mean, I think that's all I have. Like, just thinking about that, Damon B calls out Lakeland, however they pronounce it. That's another company that's primarily, I don't know if they make any electric guitars.
I don't think they do. Does Sandberg make guitars?
I'm not sure if Sandberg does either.
So I know Lakeland tried to make guitars at one point. I'm looking them up to confirm that. And yes, I am able to find pictures of Lakeland electric guitars, but they were not popular.
I swear I'm not farting. I apologize.
Sandberg does make guitars.
They do?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
They're like really gross looking Fender takes.
Well, a lot of the what I think of those innovative bass companies have made electric guitars at some point, but it's that whole thing. They were too innovative a lot of times. Like, for example, think of a company like Mike Lull basses. I've had Spencer Lull on the podcast. They make killer guitars, but nobody plays their guitars. All bass players play their guitars, play their basses, and they make great basses. But the electric guitars just don't really take off for them. They've got like a small following of people who buy like 5 and 6 of them, but at least that's what it's felt like from social media.
Right.
Yeah.
I know back in the day it was like Fedora Fedora bass was a big one.
Mhm.
Fodera. There was a company just called F Bass. I guess they're still around. Like, there's just a bunch of these little like specialty bass companies. I think it's like an interesting kind of a thing. So anyway, man, that's all I got. I was just thinking about that this morning.
Willie, I'm glad you're here though, because you reminded me. I think I'm going to buy a Marcus Miller this year. I think that I'm going to do it.
Oh, let me. Ooh, what's your style? Move your head real quick. Let's dive into this world.
Oh well, I ain't nothing back here going to tell you what my style is, but I'm probably looking at something like I'm looking at the V7 right now, but I want the 5-string.
Pump your brakes. Pump your brakes. Okay. All right. I see your V7 and I raise you V10 or V8. Okay. Actually, I take that back. I say I raise you the F10.
Oh, let's see how much you're trying to cost me here, Bully. You're trying to cost me real money here, Bully. I was trying to be cheap.
What's okay? Then let's go. Let's go this way. Go ahead and type in P5.
Okay.
Since you want to play this game, I'm told you what I want. I want this F10. But if it's not your style,
it's cool. No, it's not my style. It is rad looking. It reminds me of there was a company making really, I don't know, it's that whole lack of an upper horn and it goes up the neck.
Yeah, it's Federa.
Is that Federa? Okay.
Yeah.
I could not remember which company.
Yeah.
Okay. I found the P5. Do they make
P5.
the P5 in a 5-string? Oh, yeah, they do. Look at that.
Yes, they do. And they have some tasty colors. Also have real sexy necks too, because they just revised that roasted.
Oh yeah, see, I'm probably bass is one of those things where I'm sort of okay with a maple fretboard, but I do prefer rosewood.
Okay, well, let's do this. If you're gonna dip your toe, type in V3. That way, it's light on your pocketbooks. And I'm not a spokesperson for Sire. Not getting paid by Sire.
I get it.
Yeah, they doing a thing. And I'm trying to talk to them because I need to demo these new basses.
Okay? Oh yeah.
Shoot, you got to play Lobster's V10 at the bass house last now, bro.
Did I?
Yeah.
I mean, I played a whole bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but V10, which was that the? I'm trying to remember.
It was natural. It was natural. Had Avalon.
Okay. Yeah. I played that for a minute.
It was sweet. It made me want one.
Sire stuff is just phenomenal. At all their price points, really. Like Lee Hazel. What bass would you get with the $600 budget? I mean, I think it's hard to walk away from. I think Sire, that's at $600. Well, but
I will say this: if you're getting into it for the first time, not this one. This one costs money, but
so here you go. This is that the V3 5-string in tobacco burst. They also offer it in a sonic blue, an orange, a mahogany, a black, and an antique white. I do
like that orange.
Yeah, it's nice, but I'm such a traditional just freaking snob that burst would be the way I go.
That's why I told you to move your head.
Yeah, I mean, you see all the burst behind me. Even the I'm look so I can see. Even the let's see. I'll look at this one. That's a gold, but it's got burst underneath the gold, so it's a color on color kind of thing.
And you still have a tortoise guard too, so you ain't leaving home too far.
No, I'm not. It's
going to the store, coming right back.
now over here, you can't see it. I got a nice blue, platinum blue over there, but. Yeah, I like this burst one a lot. $530 is real cheap.
Mm-hmm.
You should buy it right now.
I can't. It's back ordered.
It's back. I mean, you can still buy it.
I could.
Squeezed on out of that. You slipped right on out of that.
As soon as I said that, I saw that big,
the big back order more on the way.
Yeah.
Also, they're doing 24-month financing on them too. So.
Yeah, that's what $25 a month.
Yep.
Or less than that. If it's 24 months, it's probably $15 or something.
They're claiming 23. By the time they add tax, it'll probably be 25.
Okay. That was just quick math. You boy smart. Anyway, I can't see that too. This screen is small, so don't y'all say
you're
you
good.
just looked at the screen.
No,
Anyway,
you're good.
I do want to throw this out there to you. Go and check out Harley Benton on Tomman.
Oh yeah.
Now, if you're really trying to save your bread and you like modding or something like that, they play good straight out the box. But if you want to throw some ridiculousness in there, then it won't tap your pocketbooks. It'll probably end up being right around 500 once you all said and done.
Man, the first thing I see when I get over there is this BZ7002 NT. It is a 7-string with 3A flame maple veneer. This is the wildest bass like for Harley Benton I've ever seen. Hold on, I'll share it because it's
a 7-string bass or 7-string guitar.
7-string bass. Let me.
Okay.
I hate the way this works sometimes. Sharing screens is never easy. Let's see here. This thing is bonkers.
Oh, I was into that. I ended up going with the progressive one, but that kind of reminded me of the kid Ken Smith. Like, I like that one.
Let's see what the price is. I'm clicking to see what the price is because it said
250, 530. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
539. Look at that.
All right. Let's. Yeah,
I
came in 250 too. It's gonna be B to F or E to C. Depends on what type of playing you're trying to do. So B, E, A, D, G, C, F.
Oh, interesting.
I think.
So it's going one down to
B, E, A, D, G, C, F. No, it should be the same spread, so you can run the same pentatonic all the way from B all the way down.
Yeah.
And then all the way back. So yeah.
Yeah, man. I've been playing show choir these last few weeks. I'm playing for this high school show choir, and our bassist is playing a 6-string BTB, and I just look at his bass and I'm like, man, that thing doesn't make any sense to me. I know it's got 6 strings, but it's once you add that high string, I get lost. Like my brain completely erupts. So
I'll do you one worse. I used to have a I still didn't get back to that story. We gotta get back over there. So I used to have a Ibanez 506, right? It's the mahogany joint. And the string spacing is really, really tight, like nat booty tight. So I ended up stringing it up E to F, simulating like a flamenco bass or like a something like that. So the reason why I did that, one, is because I thought it was cool, didn't never do it. The second reason I did that, I didn't like the lead guitar player in my church, so I would use those higher strings to piss him off and do his runs. And then play my bass lines and then slide on into his stuff and then come right on back and then he look over at me. Yeah, take every piece of that. You're not good. There we go. Back to the music. Take every piece. Feel every piece of it. Yeah. He ended up moving. I was like, hell yeah.
Man, there's some satisfaction there. There's some satisfaction.
Man. He got the last laugh. He stole my tripod and gave me his crappy one. I was like,
oh man,
red bastard. God gonna get you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's gonna break on him first time he tries to use it. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I hope he pops 2 strings.
Man.
His A and his G at the same time. Pink.
Man, breaking bass strings is the wildest thing. Like I don't do it often. Well, back when I played bass a bunch, but
yeah, I don't do it so much as often either. But yeah, when I first started out, I had no technique, so I was pulling strings way harder, and I had light gauge strings too. I was going with like Ernie Ball light gauge. I didn't know no better. I was just, these are $16. I don't have any money. I'm a kid, so
that tracks. I don't break electric strings, guitar strings that often anymore. People are they find that weird. I was like, no, I learned to play in a way that doesn't break strings.
I haven't broken a string in a long time. I think
Oh,
I feel
we're
like
not
there's
gonna
a
do this.
lot to yeah, I know, right? I feel like there's something to like if you're strumming, like if you're doing a lot of strummy stuff, you're maybe a little more prone to breaking
Bending.
strings.
Yeah.
Mine was
Um,
playing hard and bending notes because I
Bending. That's
bend.
always what gets
yeah.
me.
I've broken a few strings on bass back in the day, back when I was, but again, it was a lot of pulling. I mean, I was playing in like a noisy alt punk, whatever band with Ryan. And so, you'd get to the end of the song and you're just like grabbing the bass, picking up the whole body of the bass
By the
by the
strings, yeah.
I mean,
The disrespect. Also, what was that like? Surfboy playing punk music? What was that like?
that's what so it was a lot of kind of like that alternative, like MC5 inspired, Wayne Kramer, RIP, Dead Kennedys kind of a sound. So it's like there's some
Oh,
surf
so
influences, but it's
yeah, I
definitely
was about to say
all,
it's not too far out in
yeah.
the water as it was.
Oh, look at that.
So
Oh my
So
god.
speaking of out in the water, let's come back. Are you on vacation or are you playing?
yeah,
Coming back to this story.
this is my 10-year vacation. I've been married to my wife for 10 years. She's currently hanging in a hammock. This is not a game. She's there swinging back and forth like a hammock.
Nice.
So this is our 10-year, and I bring a bass because yes, the hell, and I was walking in because we just got here yesterday evening, and they had a band, like a band that was just playing down in the main room, and musicians, you know how this goes. I end up standing around, double fisted drink.
Uh-huh.
I still have my close bass backpack on, which is this, right?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
It's cool. So the neck itself goes in here, and then the body goes in here. And it's a
Wow.
backpack. Crazy. This is my travel base. So I have it there, and they're doing a set list. It's very popular instrumental stuff. And then they started doing improv jump. So I was like, okay, well, sign me up. So I slid on back there. They doing some nice little grooves, and they see me. They was like, what's up? I was like, what's going on? My wife seen it happen, and she was like, son of a okay.
She knows what's about to happen. She knows how this goes.
Yeah. So I walked up there, I talked to him, and I was like, what's going on, man? He's like, you play guitar? What do you play? I play bass. And the bass he's sitting there, mongoloid, sitting on his bass cab. He had a nice cab too. It was like a Harkey 4.8.
Oh yeah.
Harkey 4.8, so it was lightweight. And then I think he was running a Fender Sonic series. So this is a grassroots, very solid setup.
Yeah.
No pedals. You know what we do. So he's sitting there and he's just there, and it's just hair hanging down. And I was like, I'm a bass player. He's like, what? So they took a break or whatever. DJ came on. They all kind of congregated. And he was like, so what bass you play? And I put it on the table and took out the body. This is the closed bass, is my travel bass. And I explained the whole thing like I'm a spokesperson for them or whatever.
Yeah.
And they was like, yo, I want to hear that thing. I was like, you want me to put it together? Yeah. Okay. So I went to a bench, whipped out the old tools, and then boom, 3 minutes later, we strung up, we're ready to go. It was like, yo, doesn't the thing wear out? I was like, no, it's ferruled. So it's just metal to metal, and it screws in and then screws right back out. Right. And then comes the eyes. That's cool. Where'd you get that pick guard? Well, it goes with the bass, and it also matches the neck. What? I turned the neck around. They were like, oh, plug this. Hey, Chris, can he play this? I was like, okay, go for it. Boom. So they get with it. and that's why they freaked out.
Yeah.
This setup, and then this setup, and also, just in case you don't know, it is passive. That's right, fellas.
Oh yeah.
That's right, fellas. Those 3 pickups, and it's passive. So volume, tone, and then, like I'm a spokesperson, this is a graphite neck for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. I didn't know that it came with a bag that you could put it separately like that. That's real cool.
Did you had this bass at NAMM last year, right? Yeah, this was the one that I got to play your Kloss last year. Or is it Kloss? Close,
because their name is Close Nowick or Close Sonic.
Oh, okay.
So it's close. It's close, baby. This their brothers, Adam and Ian.
Yeah, it's got the line over the O. So
yeah.
But yeah, I remember playing it last year. It's fantastic sounding, fantastic playing bass.
That's another one where guitar players get snooty. Like, I don't want a guitar that comes apart. Meanwhile, there's.
But you can break your guitar bringing it on a plane.
Well, that's the thing is like you hear the stories of, and I can't remember which of the famous Telecaster players it is, who literally that's what he did when he had to fly gigs. He would just take the neck off his vintage Telecaster, put it in a backpack or a suitcase, and just constantly walk and do the thing. I was like, it makes sense.
Yeah,
we got a guy in town. Well, not in town anymore because I don't live there, but there's a guy in like North County, San Diego, who used to, probably still does. He'll buy like Squires and whatever, and then he just like does like, he's got his own set of upgrades that he likes to do. So he'll buy a Squire and then put in like Fender Mexico pickups, which I don't personally think is really an upgrade, but one of the things he does that's interesting, that is, again, one of these things that I think you see more in the bass world where technology is acceptable, is machine milled screws that you're talking about, where they have the metal inserts, so you can just take the neck on and off as much as you want. His whole thing is like, oh, now you're like gripping into metal, and it's going to be it's the whole like, it's a more solid connection, and like that whole thing, because like guitar players, they want to think that I use brass screws instead of stainless or whatever, like galvanized whatever screws, so it's gonna I'm using tone screws.
All right, dude, so
that's my market.
Let me ask this question, and I want to set the world on fire. I personally believe a certain way, and I'm gonna ask the question to you, and then we can travel around this thing.
Sure.
Do you think that wood, neck, and body matter on a guitar's tone?
I'm gonna let you go first, Steve.
I know I've been catching a lot of shit lately that I need to go watch Glenn Fricker's videos on tone wood and how it doesn't exist. I guess Jim Lill has done a bunch of additional tests beyond what he had originally done. I think it matters. I don't know. Maybe it's just like, I've heard people, like, I've tried to make the argument that like, I think there's a difference in sound between rosewood and maple fretboards. But I've heard people say like, oh, well, that's just because they make you play differently. So you play differently, so the tone is going to be different.
No.
But
so with that, in that theory, and this is on my channel, I took both my Sire V7 and my P7, and I swapped the necks. So it was a V7 vintage and my rosewood P7, which is the antique white one. I took those and I swapped them, and I had it like that for like 2.5 years, and then recently swapped them back. They actually sounded different. I played part to part. Like I played it, and then I did the swap, and then I came back and played again, same riffs, and they sound different. The maple tends towards more brightness, and then the rosewood tends towards more warm tones and stuff. So like rosewood on a P bass is freaking peaches and cream, cookies and cream, it's cream corn. There's so much creaminess happening. I'm not gonna say the other word. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Okay. I didn't go there. Okay. I'm a child. I ain't that much of a child. I'll back out now because I didn't.
I think it matters. I don't think it matters as much as some people claim it does. I think it does matter. I think what matters more in the long run is anything that touches the string, because that's the thing that's actually translating the signal. So nut material, tuner material, fret material, bridge material, I feel like they matter more.
Okay, say that Mount Rushmore again. You said anything that touches the string. So like
tuner material quality, the
okay.
nut quality and material, the fret quality and material, and the bridge saddle. Yeah, anything on the bridge. I think that matters more than the wood.
So we got 3 different arguments happening right now. So dig this. I think that, or maybe it's just 2, but there's 3 because I didn't even factor that in what you just said.
Yeah.
So we have some people that are like tone woods matter. A mahogany with a maple is going to sound this way. All mahogany, everything is going to sound this way, right? Mahogany tends itself towards more progressive church-based people, maybe.
Yeah.
Now you're saying all the touching to the strings. So you're taking out of account, or you're adding into account maybe the player's hands itself tends itself towards what it sounds like. What I've heard with previously was the tone woods matter more than the electronics, and they took the touching thing out. And then the other people was like, no, you could put upgraded electronics on a freaking shovel and it's gonna sound okay. Like that's the schools of thought. And then you just freaking threw a fork in the road. I don't know what to
I think the things that touch the strings, because that's what's ultimately, that is the first gain stage. That's the first thing that moves to create sound. Nothing else matters if the string is not vibrating.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, and so anything that affects the vibration of that string matters more than everything else.
All right. This is where I back into a corner. Now, here we go. Let's go Squire Affinity Telecaster.
Sure.
I bought this for $200 in a pack with an 8-inch amplifier, a cable, a strap, pick. $200 a starter pack, right?
Yep.
Now, what do you think is going to make more of a dynamic change? Swapping out the electronics or swapping out the hardware scan? Because now you're taking standards and make it a thing. So that's what I want for you. I want to know.
So I'll put this in terms like this. So you can change the electronics and it's going to make a massive difference. It's going to. But you've also got a ceiling on how good a difference it can make, because the vibration of that string is being affected by the pot metal cheap parts that are holding the string, and you're not getting as much vibration out of the string. So yes, it's going to sound better with the electronics upgraded.
However,
but you've got a ceiling. You've got a cap on how good it can get until you upgrade those other parts as well.
Okay. So if you're going to modify a guitar or instrument, what is your 1, 2, 3 in a package?
I'll have to go back a ways, because to be honest, I typically try to buy an instrument I don't have to modify anymore, because that's who I am. I hate having to modify instruments anymore.
That's part of the fun, man. You're learning the instrument.
It used to be for me when I didn't also have a 40+ hour a week job and gigs that I'm playing, and I had more time to do it. I don't have time, but when I'm upgrading, the first thing I'm going to do when I used to is I change saddles. That was always my number one. The saddles was my first upgrade back when I was a Strat player, when I was a hardcore Strat guy. First thing I did was get good saddles, because the saddles, even though everybody's going to be mad because everybody's nostalgic for the 90s and 90s Stratocasters, but even they didn't have great saddles in them, the American made. So I'd upgrade the saddle and then electronics.
What do you go with as far as saddles go?
I used to go a couple of different ways. Like I bought into the whole graphite saddle for a little while there, and I'm not in that camp anymore. Basically, I just want I want something that's just a little more solid than the bent steel saddles that came on vintage style guitars. And they can still be bent steel. Like, for example, Wilkinson makes a great bent steel saddle.
They make good hardware, period.
Exactly. I've got
I don't
those
want to say
on
that too
another
loud.
guitar over here.
I don't want to say that too loud. They might up the price or whatever.
I know they're super affordable for how good they are. But yeah, basically I want something where the metal content is a little higher and it's not that pot metal they make things out of. So I'm not as die hard about the material as I am the quality of the metal. So it could be brass, it could be graphite, it could be steel, as long as it's good steel, good quality graphite saddle. It's just got to be solid.
You make an argument, man. I can't. I thought I was going to bag you down. All right.
It's because it all matters. I'm just arguing the priority list. Because, for example, I think wood matters. I don't think it matters as much as this. And I think electronics matter at least as much as the wood. For an electric instrument, for a solid body electric instrument. Once you get to hollow bodies and semi-hollows, we're talking a totally different animal.
Man, do you think I'm sorry, I'm just interjecting my way into this.
You're good.
Do you think let's go into the bass world, because this is where it's grinding my gears. Acoustic bass, yes or no?
I've never played one where I wasn't just playing.
Don't squirm out of this. Acoustic bass, yes or no?
They're fine. I don't like it, but there's actually a video on YouTube of me playing acoustic bass with Kingfish at a blues festival, and it was the only bass available because I actually showed up to play guitar with him. We were playing this little like setup gig right at a festival, a little quick fly by seat of your pants kind of gig, and then the person who was gonna play bass didn't make it. And I didn't bring my bass because I wasn't supposed to be playing bass. And I was like, but they had like an acoustic bass there just at the venue. And I was like, fine, it'll work. We can do this.
It's true.
Destroyed my hands. It sounded okay. It was fine. I'd much rather have an electric bass, a semi-hollow bass, or if I'm gonna play acoustic bass, I as a guy who played upright, I want fretless, flat wounds. I want it to sound like upright bass. I don't want it to sound like an acoustic guitar, just deeper.
Okay. I accept your answer. We're going to come back to it, though. Go ahead.
I mean, if it's just got to be yes or no, I'm just going to say no.
Okay. All right. So I feel the same way across the board, and I haven't run across it yet. Well, I've only run across it one time, where I thought a semi-hollow was cool. Okay. And that's a Jack Cassidy. But every other situation, everything from the bronze strings to you still gonna amplify the doggone thing anyway. Like what are you gonna do? Play it at a campfire? What is it? Who is it for?
Yeah.
I can't justify the invention of an acoustic bass.
Right.
Guitar makes sense. That's treble. So treble travels easier than bass does. The frequency.
This is my choice. If I had to have an acoustic bass, this is it. Steve, you can hit that button.
Yep. That
is a Takamine TB10. It is fretless. It is arch top. It even has an end pin, so you can stand it up like an upright.
I knew you were going that way. I knew that's where you were going with. I was like, that looks like some cello type of situation.
That's if I'm gonna play an acoustic bass, that's what I want as an acoustic bass.
NPM in the chat says the TP10 doesn't count. Don't put that in the acoustic bass category.
It's an acoustic bass.
I've never seen one of these before.
I've never seen it either.
They're hella expensive too.
Oh yeah, got to. You got to pay that premium.
But he does say, and I guess I'd say he. I don't know. I've never interacted with NPM before. But one of the things here that I think is true, like if you were going for a very specific tone, I mean, sometimes there's only one way to get it. If you're gonna mic an acoustic bass, I guess that's a unique sound. But just like bully to what you're saying, like that's kind of why I'm like, just it's a pass for me, because it's like in the bed, if I'm just playing it in a space where I can hear it, it's like, is it really that much better than just playing an electric bass unplugged? I don't know. And then as soon as you're going, like you said, like campfire, like if you're going to campfire, you don't even need I mean, I guess like maybe you need a bass. I don't know. It's a freaking campfire. Like who cares? But I did see somebody. Oh, Zach Jones said the Taylor GS mini bass sounds okay.
You see how, but that's a Taylor. So this is a lot of money to just be men.
Yeah, it's $1,000
just to be men.
Yeah, exactly. I do like semi-hollow basses, but it's a tone thing, but it's also an aesthetics thing for me. I really like the aesthetics of semi-hollow guitars. So that's what that is for me. I played when I was in Seattle back in November. I went to Emerald City Guitars, and they had, I didn't even know it existed until I was getting ready to go there, and I was looking at their inventory online before I headed over to the shop because I was on a bus and I had time. They had a Gibson Bass 6. I didn't know Gibson made a Bass 6 like the Fender. So it's thinner string spacing, slightly thinner strings, but it's tuned like a bass. EADG CF. No, it's guitar tuning. So yeah,
it's
EADG BE.
So it's a guitar just an octave down. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it was a 335 style body shape. And
interesting.
Let me tell you, it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I'm going to pull it up.
What's the 335 shape?
Gibson Bass 6. I bet they still have it. They do. So here we go. I'm getting better at the screen sharing thing. I'm getting fast at it. Here you go. Oh, man. And I played it, and it was absolutely... It's marked down to $18,950. I mean, it's damn near affordable.
Sign me out, coach.
Yeah, it was at 21,000 when I was there. So let me see. Go back to
they proud, boy. They proud, and the pickups right next to the. Listen, hey, I can shred this thing.
So this is from 1960. They only made, I don't know how many. I don't know that anyone
67
knows.
It says
67 of them. Yeah, 67 of them have ever existed.
So this takes it all the way back to when I first jumped in, and they doing the exclusivity type situation.
Yep.
Because you don't have to sell 7,000 basses to make that money you can make off of one.
Yeah. Well, so when Gibson made it, they didn't make it with the intent of being exclusive, but not long after this, they switched over their Bass 6 to being the SG body style instead of the 335 body style.
Right.
So they made more of those, of the SG style. I don't know how many before they just didn't sell and they stopped making them.
Okay.
What's interesting, so I didn't know this. Apparently, if this was made in 1960, this actually was made before Fender made their first Bass 6s.
And Richard Clark, yes, that is a regular PAF. That's an original, like would have been found in a burst Les Paul PAF.
Oh, in that case, the pickup itself is worth 20 grand.
Right.
Oh, I did want to say, because we talked about this not that long ago, and or no, I made that video about it. Somebody in the video I made about the Gibson pickups made the comment that the $1,000 Gibson pickups, that they did not sell 1,000.
Yeah.
And so I got on the mailing list for that, and the mailing list has been updated twice since then. So yeah, I realize that's a total aside, but I thought about it because vintage Gibson PAFs.
Yeah.
But yeah, so apparently there's a little bit of tomfoolery there, where maybe they're making a total of 1,000, but on the launch date they did not have 1,000 ready to sell.
That's interesting. That's an interesting way to handle an exclusive launch, where you space out how many you're putting out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the less cynical way to look at it is that people bought them and then canceled their orders before they shipped, or their credit cards got declined or whatever. But
Yeah.
the fact that I've gotten 2 separate emails on it makes me think that there is, I don't necessarily want to say it's shenanigans, but it kind of makes it sound like shenanigans.
Come on, let's be
How do y'all-
honest.
how do y'all feel about
$1,000 set a
Gibson?
pickup. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just asking, how do y'all feel about Gibson as a whole?
I like
As far
Gibson enough.
I like the instruments for the most part. I think they make some really bonehead decisions. Just flat out, they make some really bad decisions in the way they do things. But also, Gibson has a fan base problem. So the Gibson fan base makes it very hard for Gibson to do anything other than what they've always done. So Ryan and I were in Nashville for Summer NAMM in 21, and we were talking to Mark Agnesi. And I always go back to this as just an illustration of the way the Gibson fan base tends to dictate what Gibson does, because they kind of have to cater to the people buying their guitars, right?
Mhm.
So Mark was talking about how they were starting the process, or had been doing a process of rescanning a bunch of vintage, 1958 to 1960 Les Pauls. And so my instant assumption was, oh, you want to trying to make sure you got the dimensions right and all, neck angles and all the things. They're doing these really in-depth laser scans. And Mark said, oh no, he said, we got that years ago. We've got like 81 amazing scans, laser precision, to know that this is the dimensions and everything of the Les Paul. So what are you doing then? He said, apparently people are upset that our font on the poker chip isn't 100% correct. Yeah. Gibson fans are toxic, and they make it hard for the brand to make better decisions.
Right.
Okay.
Hey, Theodore.
Oh, the Theodore. Yeah.
This is interesting. So I have a huge knock. Well, it stems from one thing that ticked me off. Like I was fanboy, right?
Uh-huh.
In Memphis, there's a Gibson factory, right?
There was.
So, it's gone now?
Yeah, they closed that in 2019 when they got the new ownership, new CEO, and they brought everything in a little bit to bring the quality up. They brought all artisans in Memphis, because the Memphis ones were the best ones. Being from the Mississippi Delta myself, that, Memphis is the capital of the Delta. So I'd go up there all the time, but they moved a lot of those artisans to the Nashville shop. And so there's less differentiation. So they get all the good hands on all the instruments. And that's when, honestly, the quality control's been up since they had that, regardless of what people tend to think. But
okay.
Yeah.
So along with the making the bad decision things, so I got to tour the shop.
Mhm.
I was fanboy, and I was like, this is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be awesome. So I got to go and walk around and see how people were actively making different stuff, stacks and stacks of necks and stuff.
Right.
Like an assembly line, each person does this one thing every day. This one thing. That's it. I got to the end where they have all the completed things and they're all in the sitting racks or whatever. And I was just looking at Thunderbirds. I was just like, oh yeah, when I get to this gift shop, it is on and popping. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Got to the gift shop because I had never played an active Thunderbird, 5-string Thunderbird.
Okay.
I was there with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got to the gift shop. They only had a 4-string Steinberger and like 50 Les Pauls.
Yeah. That sounds right.
But they had the Dream stack though. I'm talking SVT with dust.
Mm-hmm.
It was a husky girl. I was like, oh, it was so big. I walked in, seen her, like I felt the presence. I was like, it's about to be nasty in here. And then I walked around, seen this little dinky bass. I have a picture of the situation. I was fuming. I was like, hey, I need y'all to let me back on the floor so I can get this bass so I can play it and know what it sounds like. And they were like, we can't let you in this way because the tour's over. That's one thing.
That was part of what Gibson did the garage for, the Gibson garage in Nashville. So while it's not the factory, the goal, as they've told me, is that they will have one of everything they make available to play and or buy at all times at the Gibson garage. So,
That's a good thing to have,
yeah,
you know.
it's a great goal, kind of fixing this issue you had where you wanted to try this thing, they didn't have it.
Yeah. Next problem is the ripper and the grabber has not been reconstituted in the
Man.
everyday carry. Like you came out and you got what, the embassy, right? The embassy is solid. I like that bass. It's not as good as the Rascal, the Paranormal Rascal that Fender came out with.
I love
That's
that
a whole
Rascal
nother
so much.
That's a whole nother discussion. But the gripper and the grabber, they kill, they stomp. They're boat anchors. However, they stomp, and they're not.
If they'd bring those back, at least for the first year, they would sell like hotcakes. I don't know if long term there's enough like people who just love them to carry them forever, but they absolutely need to be brought back for at least a limited run or a little bit. I do. So I got to go to the LA showroom, the Gibson LA showroom, when I was at NAMM a couple of weeks ago. And they were announcing, they let us try a lot of the new models that are coming out, and they had a bunch of the new stuff out because they didn't go to NAMM itself, right? They were doing this, and they're bringing out a new Epiphone Thunderbird that looks killer, absolutely killer. Actually,
all right, talk nice to me. What does it look like? It's not a reverse neck, right? Because I didn't give a dang about that.
I can't believe I actually have the spec sheet right here next to me, believe it or not.
Are the new Thunderbirds not out yet?
I like that color.
Yep. So they're offering it in, that color is Inverness green. They're also offering a silver mist and an ember red. They're not officially out yet. They did Indian Laurel fingerboard, of course. But it is a 9-ply neck through mahogany wings. They went with a Graphtec nut, and they've
wait. Bring the picture back to the screen, because if they have that trifecta, bring the bottom piece. I can't.
Oh, what do you mean, right here?
Yes, that I agree. Now fix the neck dive issue. That's the only other thing.
Yeah, I did not try it with a strap on, so I don't know if it was neck diving, but they've created new pro buckers for this. These are brand new pickups that they've never used before. So I'm really interested to see what they sound like. I didn't get it. You can plug one in, but if you're not playing, with some earnestness at a real volume, you don't really know until you play it at a real volume. And I didn't get to do that. But I'm super excited about this one. It actually comes with a gig bag, which that's a bonus. I'm real excited about that one. They're also bringing back a couple of new Firebirds in the Epiphone line that I think are real cool too.
What's the price point on that Thunderbird?
That's a fantastic. I have no idea.
It doesn't. They didn't say.
There's no price on it.
I was asking because Zach Jones wants to know how we think that Epiphone is going to stack up against the Schecter Ultra Bass. The Schecter Ultra Bass is a EMG powered.
Yeah. They lose.
Whole situation. Oh no, it's not. They're not actives. They're the EMG HZs, which is surprising, but it's $1,100.
I'm gonna always go Epiphone over Schecter, and that's just me and my experiences with Schecter instruments.
Hold on, this is an Epiphone entry.
That's an Epiphone entry.
Okay, so that shakes the pot a little bit, because if you put a Gibson head thing on there, then that's an extra $1,500.
Exactly, but instead we're looking at possibly a $700 or $800 bass.
Possibly, probably not. It probably going to end up being around 1,000, or they'll try to wing it and be like $99.99 or something like that. I was assuming that was a Gibson. I was like, dang, that's going to be $2,800. I'm never going to get that bad though. I got to go to Guitar Center, but you start getting a little zesty with the Epiphone now. Okay, I like it.
So right now you can buy an Epiphone Thunderbird bass, not this version. This is the slightly different version, but the current one that's available for $750 is the 60s Epiphone Thunderbird.
Okay, so maybe $1,200, $1,100.
I hope not. I hope we see.
Well, they're making changes, so they have to make up for that R&D. So if they're trying to be competitive, this is going to go against the Player Series Fender situation.
And
This
we'll see, because I'll be honest, the Epiphone Dave Grohl came in cheaper than I expected. So I expected it to be, because the Epiphone Greenie Les Paul came in at $1,500. And so I figured the Dave Grohl semi-hollow 335 is going to come in at least the same price. And it came in $200-$300 cheaper than that. So I think they're seeing the pricing. I'm hoping they're seeing their pricing has to change a little bit, but I don't know. That was the only bass they had at the showroom. But I do like it a lot.
So is the neck painted as well?
I believe it was. Let me see if I can tell by this photo.
Is it like a matte, or is it like a? It probably wouldn't be a lacquer because it doesn't look like it, or maybe it would be.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna guess. I don't think they say exactly
like a gloss neck or whatever. I would assume, because I'm jaded because I have the Thunderbird Goth bass, so it's a matte black. It's matte black all the way throughout, so I'm kind of jaded. Like,
it just says, I love it. It just says all at an accessible price, but you're not gonna tell me that price.
Clifton, hey Clifton, how's it going? Been a while, and he says if they put something out in the $600 to $700 range, along inspired by Gibson specs, they'd sell a ton. Which I agree. Which is probably why I think you hit the nail on the head. I think we're probably looking at either $899 or $999.
Oh, I found a shop that listed it, but has pulled the listing, but Google cached the price. And so on the description, I can see the price, but if you go to the website, it's gone. $850.
$850. All right.
Well, it's right between. All right, cool. Your boy got skills now. Hey. All right.
So $850, I would take that all day for $850.
So
that feels like a good price.
Going back to this though, how are we feeling about this guy? We got
that
blue.
Looks like if I asked a 5-year-old to draw a
black,
Thunderbird.
We got whatever color this is.
What's the scale length on
it? 34.
Yeah, it's standard
length. This is the fully. Why does it look like a short scale?
I don't know. Because the body's probably giant.
Does that look like a short scale to y'all? Am I tripping?
It does. It looks weird.
It looks like an ayahuasca trip.
My head just automatically did this. I was like, it kind of looks like a molar.
It does.
Or like a boogie? I don't know.
Oh my gosh, my man, it does. It looks like a tooth. It looks
It kind of does. Somebody tried to draw a ghost or something, and the eyes were weird.
Oh my god. Okay. I see it.
Yeah, I can't do it. Here's the thing. It's such a difficult line to walk if you try to design something that is reminiscent of a classic design. The problem is by the time you get close enough to look good, you're also close enough to be sued over it. So I think it's one of those things where they just need to not try. Just do something different.
But what can you do that's different as far as shapes go?
Man, that's the hardest part. That is
they need
no,
to make
don't do that. Definitely don't do that.
Turn this into the bass version.
Why does Machine Gun Kelly have a freaking guitar?
He has 2. This is his second one.
Why?
He's
that's a razor blade.
Yeah,
come on, bro.
Oh, I have video of Steve playing.
I just pulled this up to stir up trouble, man.
I don't like your energy, man. Why are you being this way? Like we're bass players. We don't do this.
3 signature instruments. He's got an acoustic.
What?
He got this pink guy, and he's got the razor blade.
Click on the pink guy.
Yeah, the pink one's fine. It's
very limited. How much it costs?
$1,000. I think
for one
it was original. Yeah.
I can't justify it, man. I don't know.
It's it's $800 to Schecter and $200 to Machine Gun Kelly. Probably.
I can't get behind any of it. It all just looks bad.
That's because you've never fallen in love with an emo girl, Philip.
That's actually not entirely true. But those days are long gone. So
I don't know. Is Gwen Stefani emo? What about the lead singer from Evanescence? She's fine. Okay, I had a moment.
She was definitely in that. I did.
I'm gonna stay
Amy
away
Lee.
from this because I'm just gonna start reading that like, what is emo?
Oh yeah, don't do that.
That's gonna mess up your algorithm.
Yeah, I'm gonna quit looking at Schecter guitars. That's what I'm gonna do. They do make one I like. But it's because it looks like an old like Japanese import guitar from the 60s. Because that's the stuff I like. I like wonky, crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I kind of want to shake back to the question: what shapes haven't been done? Like you got Bootsy, and his bass is a star, right?
Yeah.
You got Flea bass, which is based off of the Music Man shape.
Yeah.
Every copycat, different upshoot company, pretty much kind of tends towards the jazz shape or the P shape, and then you have these molar basses and guitars that hasn't caught it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the Thunderbird, then you got the Rick shape, right?
Yep.
Jack Cassidy shape.
So,
I don't know.
So you've got there's some companies that did it really well, breaking away from, and I realize this is not a modern bass, but it, when the Stingray came out, it was reminiscent of Fender shapes, but it was its own thing. It was very different. I think Lakeland does this really well with some of their Skyline basses they're reminiscent, but they're still kind of their own identifiable thing. It's amazing how you change just a little bit of a curve and it works. But sometimes a shape like a Firebird or a Thunderbird in this case is so distinctive that when you start to try to get close to it, because I mean, let's be honest, it didn't take off when they released it. It didn't do well. Nobody liked it because it was too futuristic. It was too different. And then people adopted it later and it became classic. So now that shape has entered our, in our brain, we recognize it as this classic thing now. I think these other shapes, if what's going to have to happen is they're going to get released, they're going to get discarded because nobody bought them. And then 20 years from now, somebody's going to pick it up and play it. And that's when it's going to become classic. And that's what makes it so hard. But don't try so hard to be almost this classic shape, because really you just look like you had too much sugar on the playground and came art time. You were trying to recreate something from memory.
I forgot about the Ibanez Destroyer bass. Michael Krause brings it up. Ibanez.
Yeah.
Destroyer bass. And then I look at this and I realize it's just like, it's
an Explorer.
It is, but so there was that whole sort of, I don't really want to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it. The whole drama when Cower brought out the Griffin, there was another builder who basically accused Doug of, stealing the Griffin design from him. And now I'm looking at these, I'm like, yo, dude, all you did was like tweak. He says he tweaked the Explorer, but he tweaked the Explorer in a way that he just ended up making a Destroyer. So it's like, what are you even complaining about? I don't know. I don't want to get too into that. That's just a little rant. That's a little inside baseball for people who are on Instagram looking at Instagram guitar drama the week before NAMM.
Ultimately, it comes down to, it is hard to come up with a new, unique shape that also looks attractive. That's
the whole in a sentence structure. That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, then we go back to the Federa. When you do something and it has a purpose, sometimes it works out nicely. But there's other ones, because like you can mess this whole situation up very easy. If you add in this extra piece and send it down here, right? You send it down there. Now you have all the access to this area, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Like that has a function. They're like having a strap that has to go here.
Yeah.
like having a that has no
Gets in the way.
function. And yes, so I was like, I don't know, man. And
I tell
also,
you what, I'm gonna
this is
illustrate
almost
this.
this is almost a P shape itself.
Yep. Actually, so I think of it as a stingray. It's almost stingray. I have no idea why I just got balloons.
Oh, it
in the
just
background.
looks like there's a Yamaha.
So
It looks like a Yamaha.
So peep it this way. Think of it this way. Think of
RBX.
Federa basses versus the Wish bass.
Oh, that's a whole different beast right there. They both
Yeah.
are expensive for no reason, but
yeah. But I mean, okay, so for example, some of the Wish bass shapes looked like they took what Federa was doing and then just went extra, like went completely extra. And to me, they got ugly when they started trying to do too much. Federa, I like that little extra on the Federa. I think it looks kind of cool. It's still not my vibe, but it's attractive.
Yeah, it's interesting what they were going for and how they went about executing it. Like, I wasn't into the Tai Chi bass. If you don't know what that is, that's Victor Wooten's bass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So just looking at the wood and how it's doing the yin yang symbol, in theory, that's cool. But like, you get to adding all these knobs and switches and stuff. I'm like, Granted, take mine with a grain of salt because I have like 4 Sire Marcus Miller basses and that's 7 knobs off top. So just take mine with a grain of salt. So
oh no, we're all hypocrites. We've all had hot takes that we do something that's contrary to. That's fine.
There's your answer.
I also have 2 signature basses that have like 6 knobs. I have one with a 5-way switch selector and 4-band EQ. I'm just a kid doing a thing at a place.
There you go. Coyote, you're absolutely right. I do get the thumbs up. See, watch, it's going to do it. I'm going to try to make it do it. There it is. I need to know how to turn that off. That's annoying. That's a Mac OS thing that I don't know how to do it.
What did you say to trigger balloons?
Oh, I think I did this. I think I did a peace sign and it triggered balloons. I don't know. I'm not going to try to do it. I think it also has a timing thing where it won't do it again too quickly after it's done it once.
Okay.
Yeah. It's real fun when you host a video podcast and you talk with your hands a lot like I do. And then suddenly you start getting things on the screen and it's, man. Yeah, exactly. Man, the day I get the air horns, I'm shutting the whole thing down.
Oh, I need to start running a little soundboard for these live streams. So balloons, balloons is a peace sign.
Okay.
It might only be the open hand, not the back.
Gotcha.
There's also a hearts one. If you make a hearts with your a heart with your hand, thumbs up, thumbs down. If you do double thumbs down, apparently it will start raining. And if you make double peace signs or victory signs, it'll do confetti. Double thumbs up will do fireworks. And double rock hands will do lasers.
That's not fireworks.
We'll do double thumbs down. Thumbs down.
Let's see what happens. I cannot believe it. What the heck? What was that? Okay, I gotta get these turned off somehow. I'm gonna find that later.
We're just children. We're children with technology.
100%. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm gonna stop looking that up now. We'll keep talking guitars and I'll figure this out when we get done.
Yeah, man.
So Bully, did you get excited about anything got announced at NAMM? Did you see anything that actually seemed kind of cool?
Yeah, the whole line that Sire came out with, I was like, yo, they not playing with anybody anymore. Last time they came out and they were shooting like this, the V7 hit the market and they took over like tough. So I think they have I already said the F series, I want Daddy Like You. Okay. And then they got the V8 series where they have like it's like a teal burl top situation. If y'all can pull it up, please do.
Which one?
I think it's a V8 or maybe it's maybe a V10. I think it's the V10.
Well, I will tell you, I did feel like Sire really made
Then they
some
came out
waves
with
this
they
year.
came out with a Z10 too. Z10 looking spicy. Hit that green one. Is it a green one? Yeah, boy. You want to talk about gaudy?
Transparency.
That's me. That's me. Gaudy. That.
Well, so
This says church
I felt the
basis
same
right
thing
there.
about their electric guitars they came out with this year, that they're not playing anymore.
Yeah.
They're not you know, they're still an import. They're still thinking more budget conscious, but they're also like, we're not joking around about how serious we are.
I know Ryan
So
is trying to figure out a way to either get Sweetwater or get a contact direct from Sire to try to get one of these, but I don't know.
Yeah, look at that bridge. Look at that tremolo.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. That's I think a Goldo design, so it's kind of wild to see that on a, where was it, $600 Jazzmaster style offset.
they're not playing. Go through the flavors again, please. I'm not even into guitars.
I mean, the
got that
moment they got
Miami
Larry
blue.
Carlton on board, that's when I started paying attention to Sire. Because Larry Carlton, look, I'm going to try to, that 335 behind me, if everything burned down and I had to buy a guitar, like replace everything, I'd replace it with a 335. And Larry Carlton is Mr. 335. Like, his tone is what I think of when I think of 335 tone. So when you got that man on board, I was like, okay.
Well, they got a 335-ish with Filtertron of sorts. Let's see what are these. LC Larry Carlton Filtertron pickups. Yeah, again, a Tunematic Goldo trem. Like, it's like,
they're not joking.
A Goldo on an $800 guitar is kind of wild.
Look at that H7V. Look at the H7V. Electrics.
We are not paid spokespeople. Sire, nope. Get at us. Check out the Z series too. Like on the bass side, where they going for Stingray. Check those out. There go my strings. I was looking for them last night. Okay.
H7V. I'm not seeing the H7V.
Okay, hold on. I'll share it. I've got it. So, and I'll tell you why this one is so significant. Because this one is getting into something that's been sort of on my brain for the last little bit. Here's the H7V. That's not me.
Oh, just kidding. I thought I removed it. This is you.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
H7V. It is a semi-hollow with P90s. Do you want to know what Gibson does not make? Gibson does not make a 335 semi-hollow with P90s. They make a 330, which is a fully hollow guitar. It's a totally different animal, especially when you play on a loud live stage with any gain whatsoever.
Is it 700 or 800?
That is 705. 705. Now, Gibson did make twice that I can find. They made a P90 335. They did a signature for Luther Dickinson, which I've watched and try to find one at a decent price. I actually got scammed. Got my money back, thankfully. I found one at a decent price. Well, the reason it was a decent price because it was a scam. And then they did a Guitar Center exclusive that was 335 with P90s. That's it. Those are the only two times. You're not going to find it again. Sassy, they didn't though. The Epiphone with P90s is a Casino. It's a fully hollow. It's a 330, not a 335. There's not a semi-hollow with P90s in this shape that Gibson has made other than those two. And that's my vibe. I like P90s are my favorite pickup. It's Sunburst because I'm a boomer trapped in a millennial body. And it is it's semi-hollow. It's perfect guitar. So that one is really on my brain lately.
At least you know. It's cool, man.
Yeah.
At least you know. Yeah.
I don't like their other finishes. They do like a lighter burst and then they do just an all black, and the black is real boring looking. Hold on, I can show you. I forgot I can do that. Here's the all black. It's
Oh, hold on now, sir. They're cooking. Wait a minute. Gold hardware. Hold on now.
Yep, gold hardware.
Hey, man, don't pull them out the kitchen so fast, man.
And then they've got the cherry burst, which
you can hold that one. The
Yeah,
last two, y'all. Yeah. That'd be me. hmm
we need to talk to them about the photography, though. The difference between these two photos is not enough to warrant two different photos.
What's that? They could have did a picture of the edge. Did they do a picture of the edge?
No, they've got these 5 photos, and that's it.
Wait, are the first 3 all the same photo?
Yeah,
It just looks like.
Where's the back? Where's the back of it?
There's no back. There's that. So if you do them fast enough, you can have a stop motion of it falling over. I don't know. That was real stupid, but that's what I got.
No, man, it really was. And I'm like, I don't want to give him this laugh, but I kind of have to.
Philip, you know the answer to this?
Size. Yeah, that's the difference in a 335 and a 339. 339 is the size of a Les Paul, but the shape of a 335.
Gotcha. I've seen them both in person. I thought that was the difference. I just couldn't remember. Also, hi, Joan. I never said hi to anybody today. I'm so sorry. I feel so
I've
rude.
said hi to a couple. Yeah,
it was so frantic when we started that we just we're like, gotta hit the ground running. Can't slow down. I feel so rude now.
It's fine. You are. It's.
Well,
Yeah, they did also make. Now, I've only recently discovered this because of Dan from Lewitt Microphones, who used to work at Gibson. He was the one that told me about the ES336, which I think that's right. 336 was it's the size of the 339. So it's the smaller body style, but it's 335 shaped, and it has P90s. So they make a small body one.
The one I'm looking at, it just has humbuckers in it.
Oh, maybe that wasn't it then. Man, once you get into all these other different, I can never find the right numbers.
There is one with P90s at really great guitars.
So as a bass player, I am completely ignorant about the other side of the tracks. Okay. So y'all rattling off these numbers like they're Porsche cars. I can do Porsche cars and I can rattle the numbers, but
911 is the only Porsche car that matters. I'm actually being really reductive.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that. I don't like the sentence. I do get why you would say that. It's very iconic.
Yeah.
But let's not. Okay. Another day. Okay. So these 543, 747, 707. What is 007? What? Okay. So does it really do anything?
It's just the numbers they use to differentiate models. So there was some rumor. I actually, some people have said it as fact, but I can't find it to be fact. Some people say that initially, like the 335 was called the 335 because it cost $335. The 330 was called the 330 because it cost $330. It doesn't track for very long, right? Like that can't possibly be fact for too long. But
is it harder to make a fully acoustic one than it is to make a semi-hollow?
I think difficulty to build is very similar, but you have to change some things because with the semi-hollow, so like the 335 that's behind me, that model came out in 1958, was the first year they ever tried to make that. I know that thumbs up.
It's a thumbs up. He likes it. Go ahead.
So they were making the fully hollow before that, the thin line, maybe it was a little thicker, but they wanted to cash in on Fender coming out with the solid body. So they wanted something that still looked sort of classic and jazzy, but also didn't feed back the way that a fully semi-hollow guitar or a fully hollow guitar would. So they put a solid block down the center. And that's why it's a semi-hollow. There's a big block of mahogany running the length of the guitar, and that reduces the feedback.
Okay, so it was a purpose-driven decision. All right, cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, cool. Now, as far as I know, there's single coil because we have that as bass players. There's humbuckers. Also, here we go again. Then you said P90. What else is there?
So P90 is well, there's lots. This would be a very deep rabbit hole because there's lots of differentiation. Because even when you start talking single coil, for example, single coil in a bass, you think of a jazz bass pickup and a P bass pickup is very different, but they're both single coil.
Yeah.
But so P90 is technically a single coil, but it is a hotter, more mid-range focused pickup than like a Strat pickup that's also single coil.
Okay, so it's winding.
It's winding. It's magnet choice. It's just sheer size of the pickup. For example, a Jazzmaster pickup is single coil, but it's big and flat. It's real thin. Whereas like a P90 is going to be thicker and narrower. So the way the winds attached to the magnet is different.
Okay.
So it's a deep rabbit hole that I can talk for only so long before I don't know enough technical terms anymore to fully explain like what's going on. Like, for example, Joe is talking about lipstick pickups. Lipstick pickups are single coil, thinner, and then they go inside a metal tube, and that metal tube affects the magnetic field of the pickup. So they sound a certain way. It's so much
They
stuff.
look slick though. Like on the Danny, like the Danos, they look slick. Lobster did a freaking lipstick bass, and I was like, I don't want you got to give this charity. Why are you giving this as charity? It was solid, man. He beat me. I built a bass too. I was like, man.
Oh, and Coyote says P90s have a bar magnet, whereas Jazzmaster pickups have magnets as pole pieces. I have a set of Lindy Fralin P90s that have magnets as the pole pieces, not as a bar magnet on the bottom. It's one of those things where they were learning how to amplify sound in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. They were just figuring it all out, and that's how you came up with a bunch of different ways of doing it. You also end up with the pickups that were in lap steels, which they call horseshoe pickups, because the magnetic field didn't just go under the string, it was over the string as well, and the strings passed through the pickup rather than just underneath it.
Is it the same concept for Ricky's?
Yep, exactly. That's where Rickenbacker got their pickup design, was from lap steels.
Right. That
makes sense. All right. So
yeah, I can't make heads or tails of this Gibson numbering system. Apparently the first one was the ES150.
Yeah, that's the Charlie Christian. That's the model that Charlie Christian made famous.
When the 335 came out, it was $267.
So it doesn't track.
But somebody in the chat, I think it was, again, it may have been Clifton, was saying that the 150 may have been 150 when it came out, but it also came out in like 1936 or something. So yeah, and again, like the logic falls apart pretty quickly, as Phil S. Norwich says. Was the 336 $1 more?
Yeah, and the 336 came out way down the line. Like that's a modern guitar by Fender, by Gibson standards.
And when you're looking at like the 50s, like if suppose like the ES335 was $335 for late 1950s, early 1960s numbers, like an ES150 for $150. Almost $200 less. That's insane. Yeah. That's like 6 months rent.
So if the 335, so the 335 came out in 1958, $335 in 1958 adjusted for inflation would be $3,618 today.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. I was like, yeah, that's gonna be a grip. Yeah.
30s, which actually, what's a 335 cost right now?
More than that.
$3,500.
The whole like Gibson's is expensive thing. It falls apart as soon as you start looking at CPIs. The problem is because it's a luxury good, and because I guess the assumption is that the build methods should have improved over time in terms of efficiency and whatnot. But yeah, the reality is that whether or not they have, everybody's stuff has got somebody, I forget where, somebody in one of the YouTube comments on some video I made or Ryan made, I don't remember, made the comment that they bought a Gibson the Paul in like 1979. They bought it for like $700 or something, or I don't remember. Some very low price.
Yeah.
Might have been it
Some
might have been
what?
like $500.
Okay. Well,
But when you look at like whatever that value was, whatever that number
yeah.
was, I don't remember, in 1979, it's $2,200 now if you just go by straight inflation. And
Mhm.
I think that if Gibson was making that, because the Paul was like a bare wood finish, stripped down model, it was functionally an entry level model for that time, it would probably be $1,700. I could see them marking the price up because it's like a historic reboot, but like a Gibson Les Paul Studio, which just part for part is a better guitar than the Gibson The Paul.
Oh, 100%.
Is $1,800, $1,700-$1,800 right now, I think. So it's cheaper.
Oh, or you look at it this way: Les Paul, when it was released in 1950, or a 1958 Les Paul, right?
Mhm.
Ignore the resale. We're talking when it was new,
Mm.
and you had to buy the case separately because it didn't come with the case unless you
Right.
paid separately for the case. Came out to $290 brand new for a
Mhm.
Gibson Les Paul in 1950. Actually, the numbers from 1959 that I've got.
Sure.
Adjusted for inflation, that is a price today of $3,132. A Les Paul is cheaper today than it was in 1958 because
How
they're
much did you say?
$3,132.
Yeah.
They're $2,999 brand new. It's cheaper today than it was in 1958, adjusted for inflation.
Okay.
Ian Johnston asks about the modern lights. At least in the States, the modern lights are 1,500. That probably means they're 1,500 pounds in the UK. I forget. Ian might be in, I forget if you're in the UK or in Ireland. So I don't know who would be supplying if they were in Ireland, but in the UK, I would assume they're 1,500 because Gibson tends to like just not adjust their prices for. So my guess is it's probably also 1,500 euro because they just tend to just be 1,500 everywhere.
Well, I can look at Anderton's.
Unless you go to Mexico, they're probably not 1,500 pesos, unfortunately.
No, that is not going to be the case.
I'll make a dang trip on the way back. Hell.
Right. I'm like, if that's the case, I'm going to Mexico today.
Yeah. Daddy likey.
They are 1,449 GBP.
Yeah, so actually, like a little.
I'm pretty sure the
little
pound is stronger than the U.S. dollar right
is.
now.
It
is.
It is. So
okay.
yeah.
So 1,550 pounds, I want to say is like 1,900 US, something like that. Yeah, 17, 19.
It's 1,449 pounds. That comes out to $1,830 US.
Yeah.
So buy it in the US. It's cheaper.
Oh man, hold on now. If that's all perspective, when you go to Tomman and you buy a Harley Benton and it costs $80, that means over here it's supposed to cost like $65, bro.
Well, I remember when
if I'm wrong.
I remember
so
when the case with Tomman, the weirder thing with Tomman is the way it works there. Like the stuff is so affordable. I knew people who were buying the 212 cabinets from Tomman, not because they wanted the cabinet, but because the two vintage 30s that came in it were cheaper to buy in the cabinet than it was to buy two vintage 30 speakers in the US. I think that's still the case. I think you can still buy a 212 cabinet from Tomman with vintage 30s for cheaper than you can buy two vintage 30s in the US.
That's probably with shipping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't there some issue with those being like not good or something? I don't know.
I don't
know. The speaker or the basses?
Like they're spec'd the same, but when you buy like vintage 30s from Sweetwater, you're actually getting a different speaker. I don't know if that's true. I just have that floating around in my head.
So at one point, Celestian shipped a lot of their production to China. And there's some talk whether or not, I'm not here for that debate. I can't tell you. that the quality went down and they only kept some things being made in the UK and then the rest were being made in China. If I remember correctly, all Celestians are made in the UK again now. They stopped doing any of the Chinese production. So without deep diving it and admitting that I have surface level information here, I'm pretty sure the vintage 30s you get in the Tomman Harley Benton cab are the exact same vintage 30s you would get if you bought them from Sweetwater for UK made vintage 30s.
Gotcha.
It's a nice assumption.
Yep. I think that is the situation. Now that's why if you ever try to sell a Celestian speaker, by the way, you'll get a buyer who's like, what year was it made? Because they'll want to know if it was made in the UK or China. I think they stopped making them in China in 2015. I think they brought all the production back to the UK.
Interesting.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah. It's way too much information to keep up with. I have no idea why I'm holding it in my head. It's not really that useful in the long run.
Dude, I have that same thing for cars. Like my wife was like, yo, like we went to a old timey car show and I was like, 56 Bel Air, that's a 79 coupe. 442. But she was looking at it, she's like, this is a beautiful mind. What the hell is that? How you doing this?
Yeah,
the woman God gave me that walked behind me, she said that just drinking a slushie. I was like, that's not nice.
It's just a whole thing. We all have that weird thing that we hold on to all the information on for whatever reason.
I have no reason to do it.
Yeah, no, we just do.
Yeah.
All right, we just hit that 2-hour mark.
Yeah,
I like to not go too far past, but we
got a Super Bowl to watch.
We got to throw this question out. Las Vegas has 49ers by 2 points, but who do you have for today's game?
Oh, I think the Kansas City Taylor Swifts are winning it today.
Because the Super Bowl's rigged. That's what I'm
100%. Dude, look.
That could also be true, but she's too annoying. She's like, think about it. She dated this dude, and all they talk about is her. This was a publicity stunt.
Well, here's the deal. I don't think it's rigged. I'm gonna be that guy. I don't think she actually gets all that much publicity, to be honest. I've seen the numbers. I found somebody who broke it down on the screen time, how much screen time she's getting per game. She's getting less than Jack Nicholson got at Lakers games. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hold on. So hold on now. Number one, think how small a basketball court is compared to a whole freaking stadium. That's number one. Number two, you think people not gonna try to go and see and talk to Taylor Swift? Foolishness is afoot.
But like the average screen time she's gotten since they started showing her is 26 seconds in a 3.5 hour broadcast.
It's too much.
Hey, what was I doing last year before they were together? I had 0 seconds and life was a little bit better. Okay, you feel me?
So no, I love it. I think it's actually doing really good things for getting more eyes on the sport. I suspect that this will be the most watched Super Bowl in history because of Taylor Swift, because her fan base, I know that people won't like this, but her fan base is way bigger than the NFL fan base.
Yeah.
Way bigger.
And it's not close.
She doesn't need the NFL. The NFL needs her.
Yeah.
And
that's sad.
But I called it the moment they were winning and Taylor Swift was dating I almost said, is it Jason or Travis Kelce? I can't remember. It's the Travis. Kelce, whichever it is. I said that the moment they started winning, I said, you watch, if they win a playoff game, the talk about it being rigged to make sure that Taylor Swift is at the Super Bowl will get started. And the moment they won that first game, I started seeing internet conspiracies like, well, of course the Chiefs are going to win now. They want Taylor Swift to be at the Super Bowl. I was like,
all right. So I can throw this out there and you can look at this you can look at this. The sign for the Super Bowl when they do their promotional advertising, they usually go with the colors of who's going to be in the Super Bowl. And the person that wins is that has the less amount of color in the logo. So go back Go back and look at the logos for the colors, and then think about and look like that's a conspiracy. But it checked out for like 5 Super Bowls in a row. So I
I'm
was
gonna go
like,
look. I'm gonna go
Okay,
look.
but this year's logo is like purple and red.
is it purple and red?
And the Chiefs and the 49ers have almost
Or
the same color
just red?
schemes.
Yeah, that's a problem because both teams in the Super Bowl have extremely similar color schemes.
No, but this is going to be white and red, and then red and white. It's going to be an Oklahoma scrimmage game with money. Alabama scrimmage for money.
I did want to call this out, Philip. I don't know if you listened to Chasing Tone, the most recent episode. Phil S. Norwich brought up that Celestian is in Ipswich, about 60 miles from where he lives. He's thinking about getting greenback. I've only heard good things about greenbacks. But at NAMM, the Celestian brought in one of those big ass red
double-decker buses,
and it had a you know how old school buses, or even new buses, they have like the placard on it that says like what the destination is.
Yeah.
Now I've sort of broken this up, so now I feel like I need to maybe give Richard Oliver a little bit of shit about it, but I probably won't over Richard over at Chasing Tone. Apparently Celestian traces its roots back to the village of Hampton Wick, but he called out, which is true on the show, that there are a number of people that think Celestian just pulled a penis joke at NAMM for 4 days.
They did a Cockney rhyming scheme
because it's a Cockney rhyming for some other things there, which I think I wish that was true, but you know, I don't
can't roll out that it's not though.
Well, here's the deal. It could be both. It could be convenient enough that they trace their roots to that same town that they got to make basically a dick joke at NAMM and then have it out. I mean, I think it can be both.
Who hasn't done a double entendre with the same satisfaction as, you know?
Right.
So
right. Come
you know
on.
what I'm saying? Who doesn't smile at a dad joke? And that's a dad joke.
I think the worst part is I never even noticed the destination on the bus, and I was over there by it a lot since it was near the Stringjoy booth.
You know what that is? That's you being in the know. Like if you don't know, you don't know. But if you do, you can laugh like, haha.
Yep, that's it. You got to
go to Starbucks and then saying your name is Jacques Strap, and making them say it.
I knew a guy named Mike. That whenever he would go to a restaurant, he would give the name Sebastian because there was always like 5 other Mikes, and he would do it with such frequency that when I got introduced to him, they were like, "Oh yeah, this is Sebastian," and I was like, "All right, cool," because like everybody called him Sebastian because of that, and I was like, and then like he would like something that came up where he's like Mike, and I was like, "The fuck." Who's Mike? Like, why is this dude all of a sudden saying his name is Mike? But again, he like put down the reservations for restaurants so frequently that all of his friends called him Sebastian. It's super weird.
And he just never corrected it. He was like, "Yeah, let's run this out."
Yeah. It just became like his thing. I was like, "Is that like a middle name? Like you and your dad have the same first name, so you go by different middle names, or what?" And he's like, "No, that's just like it. Just became an inside joke that people ran with." Oh man. All right. Let's shut this bad boy down. Let you enjoy your cruise there, Bully. I dropped a link if you want to in the chat, and I'll go back and redo the description on the 60 Cycle Hum side after this is done, so people can check out the bass stuff, get that low. You got anything else to shout out, man? I just did your shout out, half your shout out for you.
Listen, you said most of the stuff. Yeah, Instagram, Bully the Kid. YouTube, Bully the Kid. If you Google me, I'm Googleable, which is also very weird for me to say out loud.
Yeah.
This mug pops up without glasses, but this mug usually. So thank y'all for having me on. It's been fun.
Yeah, man.
Sorry if I overtalked y'all.
No, dude, that's the way. And also we're doing an episode.
My
this
thumbs
season.
up doesn't do anything.
Yeah, you're coming on the podcast this season, Bully. It's gonna happen. We're gonna talk.
Okay.
Philip's got his own. Philip does interviews are really good.
Yeah, I do conversations rather than interviews. I like to say it that way because I'm not going to grill anybody on anything. But
Dude, this is what's messed up. This would probably be funny if you did try to grill me because I'm not going to shirk away. And I'll answer the question.
Yeah. See, well, that's the thing is like I was having this conversation about a brand that won't be named, and we'll close with this. That I feel like I could get on the podcast if I wanted to, but like they're one of those brands that I'd want to ask some hard questions, and I don't think they'd answer them. So I'd rather just avoid those kinds of things and just have conversations, and I just let people say what they're going to say most of the time and see how it goes.
All right. How about here's an idea, and I'm gonna shut up. How about you say you have an out of saying no comment?
Yeah, that's it.
So you ask a hard hitting question, and then without skipping a beat. Now, sir, I asked this question. You have the option of saying no comment.
Yeah.
Now, when you do that, that opens the floodgates to conspiracies. That's I'm sorry.
Because we all know no comment means guilty. Because that's what we know.
All right, Philip, you had Ryan on your episode this past week. You want to give folks a preview of what you got coming up?
There's a bunch that are going to be in the works. Like I'm recording 3 literally before the release date of next Thursday. I don't know which one will be, so I'm not going to say. I don't know which one of those I don't know which will get edited first, or if there's a time on one of the others. But I got a bunch of cool guests coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Add me to the list.
It's coming. I'm gonna message you on Instagram.
That's cool with me.
I got nothing to shout out. Y'all know what's up with 60 Cycle Hum. I don't know if we have what demos are planned. I'm out of the loop on that. I'm usually out of the loop. I hear about them when they come in.
But you're gonna get in the loop soon. You're gonna
I got some stuff. Oh look, tomorrow's podcast episode is already uploaded, so maybe I'll work on that early today. Otherwise, I think Ryan's talked about this before, so I'll talk about it. We got an upcoming Chase Bliss demo paid for by Temu.
That's awesome.
But I don't know when that's happening, but we're gonna do some or Ryan's gonna do some stuff with that. We got some pod stuff coming up, but otherwise, nothing too big. So I guess see everyone around, as we say at 60 Cycle. Stay grounded.
Bye, y'all.
Ending the